Hi guys, Veronika here. So after watching the recent tournament, and I think that we all can agree that Kok has really shown his value. He is insanely strong in those bruiser matchup, especially when you actually give him time to actually build up his Calamity Flame, to let him stack up, to get more damage stack from it. Then he will actually show his value that can actually able to one-shot and wipe off the enemy bruiser team comp, right? But because he's strong doesn't mean that he's unbeatable. So in today's video, I'll be breaking down how to counter Kok, especially the enemy Kok, and what kind of unit or playstyle work best against him. And also how to prevent him taking over your game, especially if you're facing those slower and bruiser style team. So special thanks to Dictator to actually share me the showcase that when he's actually fighting in RTA and when enemy is actually using their Kok in their team, then how he actually counter them. Some of the showcase is actually very interesting, and I hope that the showcase can actually enlighten you guys if you're actually facing a situation when players actually playing with their Kok, then you can actually use the team comp to counter them. So first of all, we have to understand how Kok actually used in the team. Usually they are actually using Kok combined with the other bruiser team comp because he's actually able to hide himself. You're not able to select their Kok because they are not able to select it as a primary target by the enemy skill unless you actually CC him. But most of the time, if you're actually able to CC the Kok, then they can just heal it or cleanse it, right? So the only way or the most efficient way is actually just one-shot them, slap them in a way and kill their Kok away, even though they are in this unable to select state. All because Kok's stats is actually pretty low compared with other enemies, so it's actually very squishy. It's so squishy that you can just use an AOE damage and slap him and then he will just die in a way, right? So in this showcase here, we'll be taking a look at a few showcases that how Dictator actually gonna counter the enemy Kok with the team Kok. Alright, so in this showcase here, we're gonna take a look that this is what Dictator is gonna use. It's gonna be Fuchu, Doki Doki, Veronika, and Messiah. So why Messiah is in this draft is because Kok is actually have a very obvious weakness, which is AOE damage. You can't select him as a single target damage. The single target, right? But AOE damage can actually just kill him very easily. But in this specific showcase here, Messiah is not going to shine. The one that's actually going to shine is going to be Veronika stealing the shield from Celine and let the enemy Kok kill himself. So now let's take a look how the showcase is going to be. The showcase doesn't have any audio, but it's fine. Right, so Dictator's Doki Doki will take the turn here, just turn meter push everyone, set up the team by using Doki Doki's data stream and also full shield healing and the shield. And then you can see here Messiah is going to do massive damage, but because enemy Celine actually protect their Kok with the thick amount of protection shield, so the Kok is actually very safe in terms of damage wise. So you can see the enemy Kok is still survive, but without the Celine shield, enemy Kok is actually died. Okay, so everything is setting up. That enemy Kok is going to take the turn with the count here and able to lifesteal with the damage. Actually let him heal back a little bit, but it's totally fine. Now Celine is going to put up the Forgetfulness and then apply another shield, and we're going to see is Veronika is going to take away the shield from the enemy and let the enemy Kok kill themselves with the reflection damage. Alright, Fuchu do the turn, and then Messiah is going to take another action, but without the AoE damage here, you are not able to target the enemy Kok. And then Veronika here is going to cast another S3, steal away the enemy protection, so enemy is out of protection now, it's going raw. And then now the damage is going to get reflection damage, and enemy Kok doing AoE damage, killing himself from the reflection damage. So Celine is actually a very good counter against Kok, but because enemy is actually took away the Celine, so he's not able to use Celine reflection damage, but you have Veronika. Veronika can just steal away the enemy protection, take away the Celine Aqua Shield, and let the Aqua Shield reflect the damage of the enemy Kok and kill himself. So now after enemy doesn't have the Kok here, then only left Holden, and you still have Veronika here to slowly do damage with a HP percentage damage and also apply shield. You have full shield to heal here, you have Doki to keep on reduce the cooldown. So basically the match here is actually ended because you can just keep on rotating the full shield, thick amount of shield and also healing. The enemy Holden is not going to able to break out the shield, not to mention Veronika can also put up the shield. And once you wait for Veronika, S2 is up, then Veronika can cast another S2 and do AoE damage based on HP percentage. So Veronika is actually very good stealing from enemy Celine shield and also AoE damage from S2 as well. It's a very good counter against enemy who is actually playing with Kok. So you can see S2, do another, sorry, this is S3 stealing the buff, and then keep on stealing the Celine buff is actually pretty annoying. And then Veronika is gonna going up for the S2 damage, and then this Holden here is just gonna get one shot. S2, alright, left a little bit and go into Ember, right? Alright, now we can take a look at another showcase. So this is another showcase which is also very interesting because we only have Plume as a debuffer and also as a sub DPS in a way, and then we have Fuchu here to provide a heal, and this is a 40 Simo Fuchu as well, so the healing amount is going to be very massive. And then we have Doki Doki here for the turn meter pushing and cooldown reduction, and then we have Oboe here. So why this showcase is actually good is because Oboe actually have the CC, and enemy Kok usually is very afraid of CC, so Oboe here can do AoE CC, just keep on stunning him and also apply the DOT, and we have Doki Doki here to keep turn meter pushing and also cooldown reduction, make Oboe can keep on casting the S3, applies a lot of DOT and also a CC, and once you're able to CC, then you're actually able to target the enemy Kok to actually slap them as well. So we can take a look here. Okay, Doki Doki is going to turn meter push everyone, and then we're going to take Plume here, going to do AoE damage and also apply defend break and also weakness as well. Okay, then after the defend break and weakness, the enemy holder is barely doing any damage, and then Oboe here doing AoE stun and also AoE DOT as well. Then Fuchu is gonna set up with putting the shield and also the Moonveil, so you're actually not afraid of enemy damage anymore. Alright, then they're gonna take the turn, but because they're on stun, they're not able to do anything. Cooldown reduction from Doki Doki because Holden actually CD reset Oboe. Alright, counter attack, which is fine because you have Fuchu healing, and also the defend break on Holden barely does any damage at all because it's defense skilling. Alright, making Holden do more damage. So now you're actually targeting a Holden. So Holden with the Artisan shield, but because of the defend down, the Artisan shield isn't that massive. You can see the damage from Holden barely does anything. Like in terms of HP wise, you're actually still pretty healthy with Fuchu as well. The enemy Linglord here, AoE healing applies like immunity and also the heal. Then Tiamat here doing AoE damage, nuking down the team here. So at this point that you're actually thinking that, oh, are you gonna lose? But now you're Fortissimo gonna heal, you're gonna Fuchu, gonna rotate, and Doki Doki and Fuchu have a very good combination because of turn meter pushing and also the CD reduction make Fuchu able to keep rotating her Moonveil buff. And another debuff here, putting another defend down and weakness. Now Kokardi finally able to take his turn, but because of the weakness, only able to do that little damage to your team. And then Oboe here, another S3 applies the control. Then now everyone is able to slap the enemy Kok, and now the Kok just died. And that Kok is actually with blood buff. Look at that moment. The damage that you're actually doing to the enemy Kok is actually with the blood buff damage reduction already. So that's how squishy the enemy Kok is, and because of the stun from Oboe, so now we're actually able to target. And now we can take a look here, even with Doki Doki S1 hitting the enemy Kok, 4251 is actually a very low damage, not to mention with the damage share with Tiamat already, but enemy Kok still gets a lot of damage. That's how squishy he is. And also the damage from Fuchu as well. 1865 is nearly gonna kill him, and then also with the damage sharing, and then the last hit is gonna be from Plume S1 dealing 3k. Even with blood buff built in, it's not able to tank down the damage. So if you are gonna use Kok in your team, make sure the enemy is not going to AoE damage or going with AoE CC, because that's one of the biggest weakness if you're actually playing Kok. That's one of the biggest weakness to play Kok as well. Alright, then the battle here is actually just ended because you can just put up the heal, put up the shield, and then just keep rotating. Enemy holder is barely going to do any damage because of the defend down from Plume and also the weakness as well. And enemy Tiamat here is okay to do damage, but because every time you do an AoE damage, you're going to trigger the Fuchu heal and also the turn meter pushing, makes the Plume keep on rotating the turn and do AoE damage as well, and also keep rotating the defend down, makes the Holden basically no damage at all. So this is how the battle ends, and then the Oboe here just gonna keep on CC and also putting DOT to the team as well. So I think this is actually a very good showcase as well to actually show that how to actually counter the enemy Kok with just using the CC to get rid of the passive, and now the rest of the unit can just focus targeting to hit their Kok, and Holden here getting countered by the Plume, and just Tiamat here, but because Tiamat doing AoE damage get countered by the Fuchu AoE healing as well. Alright, so this is another showcase where enemy actually ban Messiah, if not mistaken, then they actually let the Tiamat come in. So we have Tiamat, we're gonna have Fuchiu, we're gonna have Doki Doki and Veronika, and enemy here gonna have Lily, their Kok, Lilium, and also Holden. Alright, so we can take a look at this showcase here because as again, the Kok is actually very sensitive against those AoE damage, and we have Tiamat here. And Tiamat with Fuchiu is gonna actually trigger Tiamat's passive very easily and make Tiamat goes into the Dragon Mummy form, and the Dragon Mummy form is gonna do AoE damage and attack the enemy Kok as well. So now we can take a look here. Holden is gonna try to dispel enemy buff, applying all the debuff, and then Lilium here is gonna do massive amount of damage with the S3. Do damage, okay, but Tiamat here able to tank it down, and also Lighthouse. And then enemy Kok here apply with the count, do AoE damage, but now the damage wise isn't that high because you haven't stacked up the Calamity Flame. AoE damage, and you can see Holden died and enemy Kok is actually going to die, left a little bit of HP. Then Veronika here follow up with a S2, instantly just kill the Kok. Alright, so you can see Kokardi is actually very good against like Bruiser matchup, but the moment when you face a lot of AoE damage, the enemy Kok is no way able to handle that much of damage because it's actually very squishy. Alright, then this is another showcase, but this is actually a typical Cleave, because we're gonna see another Messiah showcase here, but this time we have Veronika, Sanya here, and the enemy here is Lily, Mio, Holden, and also their Kok. And then we can take a look here. Doki Doki is gonna take the turn first. I have no idea how fast the Doki Doki is, but turn meter pushing make Messiah able to take the turn very fast. Okay, Veronika already do a S2 damage as well. Alright, then Lily here turn meter push, and then Mio here CC Messiah, but Messiah here have Doki Doki to support, able to take the turn, S3, one shot the whole team including the enemy Kok as well, and this is actually just end the battle very fast. Alright, then this is another showcase. We can see Doki Doki, Plume, and then Lily Messiah just wanted to cleave away the enemy Kok as well. Enemy Kok here is actually a very good solid comp if you're actually fighting with a bruiser, because Inferno here can make their Kok actually able to be tankier from the shield and also more attack buff as well. Make Kok is going to go hyper damage, and then we have Fuchiu here for the heal and also turn meter push. We have Veronika here to steal the buff. It's a very good team comp against the bruiser matchup. But if you're gonna face a Cleave comp, then this Kok here is no way gonna handle the damage. So we can see here Doki Doki gonna turn meter push, pushing up the whole team, and then Plume here gonna debuff away their whole team, applying defend break, including their Kok as well. And then Yeti here with Revelation, just gonna cast one S3, able to just one shot away the Kok. No way for you to actually set up your team. Okay, not even the Messiah gonna take the right. And this is the Veronika. If you're actually curious, like his Veronika build is just a typical Veronika build, just going for blood buff, going for bulwark, so you can actually set share immunity set, and also make her able to immune to stun as well. And then with a little bit of speed, and going for Jackal Guard. So in terms of speed is 256, and you want a little bit of effect accuracy so you can actually steal away the enemy buff. But this is just a very typical Veronika. Then in terms of like Doki Doki speed, all this thing is actually more privacy, because you know, if you actually know the enemy Doki Doki speed, especially that is his opener, it's not really going to be good for his case, right? So he did manage to share the Veronika build, but if you're curious, you can probably comment down what you guys think about it. So yeah, Veronika is very scary if you actually let him play his game, build up his Calamity Flame. That is actually very strong unit against the Bruiser meta, but when you're actually fighting in the Bruiser mirror. But once you understand how to actually disrupt his rhythm, his tempo, then it's way more manageable compared with the other Bruiser unit, because it's actually very squishy compared to the other Bruiser unit. So hopefully this actually gives you some idea for your PvP draft, or how do you build around him when you face an enemy Kok in their Bruiser setup. So if you find this useful, don't forget to like and sub, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is Trencan, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter or patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwaltz, Rimu, Chani, Antonio Winterspoon, First Law, D&D, thank you so much for your support. And special thanks to the Super Thanks MVP, HMZ Riggs, thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest 10. Thank you so much for Code Wilderness, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Chani. Thank you so much for your support.